Delver. I think that one of the ways Rug Delver frequently loses is by having its mana base disrupted or not hitting enough lands or getting wastelanded, and the Snapcaster Mage just increases your vulnerability to all of those effects without actually granting you a whole lot. It's nice to have some actual card advantage in the deck, which otherwise it doesn't really have. It's just trading 1-for-1 a lot, sometimes 2-for-1 with Force of Will, but for the most part, I think Snapcaster is a little showy, I guess, for the deck.
It's kind of remarkable how many 1 and 0 casting cost counterspells are in this deck. 4 Force of Wills, 3 Dazes, 4 Spell Pierces, 2 Spell Snares. You know, combine that with 10 1 mana cantrips.
The average mana cost is very low.
So Justin Uppal on the play on the right with that Rug Delver deck we've been talking about. It's interesting that he uses Polluted Delta and Flooded Strand despite being a blue-red-green deck. Now he doesn't have any forests or mountains anyway, but by playing with Polluted Delta and Flooded Strand, he's kind of giving up the information about his access to basics. However, it's possible in some situations he can bluff better about what colors he would be playing.
I know Justin specifically cited that he liked having Flooded Strand when he was playing Stifle because people very rarely expected a Flooded Strand to lead to a Stifle on turn 1.
Interesting. Now, how many Stifles does he have also?
He has none, I think,
none
this
week?
Right? This week he's cut
it.
them, but he has played them in
this week it looks like he's just on Spell Pierce, Spell Snare, and Daze. But what do you think about Forked Bolt? That's another one that's kind of sweet. Like, Lightning Bolt is pretty obvious, but not everybody plays Forked Bolt over Chain Lightning.
I don't generally like Forked Bolt in Legacy right now. I think the metagame has shifted to it not being that good, but in this field, which happens to be rife with Elf players, Justin's made a savvy call with Forked Bolt, I think.
Excellent, excellent.
We fetched planes to avoid Stifle on Rob's side, so he clearly does not know that Justin's not running Stifle this week.
Absolutely, and that's one of the advantages. Like, when you are well known for a certain deck, people start giving you credit for it.
Yep.
Like, I can't even tell you how many people have just assumed I'm going to Cruel Ultimatum them.
Justin got a fetch land with his Ponder, but led the Volcanic Island, so clearly he likes the remainder of his Ponder as well. At least one more card. Enlightened Tutor, is this during our upkeep? I don't
It's on the end step.
it's during the end step? Oh, okay.
Yep. Now, getting the Thopter Foundry here, this is pretty much just a sign that he's already got the sword, right? And that he just wants to put together the combo?
Probably.
Like, you don't really want the Thopter Foundry unless you're doing the combo, do you?
Yeah. Is there anything else he would be searching for against Justin? Because he's blown this Enlightened Tutor pretty early, giving himself away, so it doesn't seem to have a lot, really.
I mean, what do you think about Humility?
Humility, I think Ensnaring Bridge is probably just better in this matchup.
Okay.
At least in game 1, when you know your opponent does not have access to things like Ancient Grudge.
Wow. It's kind of deceptive just how many one-ofs are in this deck, because he's got, like 1 Ponder, 1 1 Counterbalance, 1
Mana Leak and 1 Counterspell.
1 Mana Leak, 1 Counterspell.
Oh,
does he know that those aren't 2 cards? 1 Elspeth.
Our Aberration is flipped. Started the
Spell
clock.
Pierce countering the Foundry.
Yep.
I wonder how sick of a bluff it is if you just don't have the sword to make, but you just lead with the Foundry anyway, knowing that they're going to counter it.
Crucible of Worlds. Well, that'll start eking out some advantage on Rob's side of the board.
Wow, and it sticks. Wow. It's going to be very powerful, drawing an extra land every turn. Now, he's under a lot of pressure because of the Insect. And now a Tarmogoyf as well. Now, does he have any Wrath of Gods or anything like that main deck?
He's relying on Humility and Ensnaring Bridge to blunt his opponent's offense, along with Thopter Sword combo, obviously.
He's got
pretty defensive.
3 Plows and 1 O-Ring.
He does have an Engineered Explosives also.
It's true.
Just 1.
And,
another Tutor. Now this one, I am not certain if this is during the upkeep or not.
It's got to be. Yeah,
I
he
feel
tapped
like
out for the Crucible last turn.
I would probably, I don't know how many cards he has in hand. We're definitely at the stage where we might be considering Ensnaring Bridge. Our Enlightened Tutors have effectively reduced our hand size, so that could be low enough to get our Insectile Aberration off our back. He has the fetch land in the graveyard already to give him a 3rd mana, so he's shuffling a little prematurely here, perhaps. And Justin's pointing out, I think, you're going to be getting another land.
I wonder what the chances are here that Justin just has another Spell Pierce or a Force Will.
He has Force Will and Brainstorm in his hand, so he definitely can counter this Ensnaring Bridge.
Yeah, do we know what his life total is? Is his life total 15 or 12 or 13?
Oh yeah, I do. We are behind on life total here.
12. It is 12.
12 is the life total. We're getting that updated. Force of will puts Justin to 18.
So what do you think about playing the seed out of the hand? It's good, right? Just to get your hand size smaller if the bridge sticks?
Yeah, that makes sense. Notably, Rob had Force of will counterbalance here and did not fight. That's what it looks like in the hands, right? Oh, Sword of the Meek, my mistake. Those have a very similar color scheme. So good read on you with the Sword of the Meek. If that Thopter Foundry had stuck on turn 2, this could have been a very different game.
Rob, down to 1 turn. He's going to have to play something pretty big here. And if it's not humility, he backs it up. So, as we go to game 2, what does Rob get out of his sideboard?
Well, he has even more one-ofs. So we've got timely reinforcements, perhaps? I'm not really like a big fan, but it can bump off Nimble Mongoose for a really long time, so that's handy. And considering you have humility as an option, that might be worthwhile. More Ensnaring Bridge, I think, is a good call. And Terminus is an excellent solution to the Nimble Mongoose problem as well. I think that's like...
Ensnaring Bridge too, right?
Yeah,
just have
the
more
Bridge
of that.
for sure. I think Bridge is underplayed in Legacy right now, just in general. I think it's powerful in a fair number of decks. And Nimble Mongoose is the big problem card for a lot of these blue-white decks, even though in this game we saw him get beat down by everything else.
Sure.
That's the one that's usually most difficult to remove.
And then depending on how many cards he has to take out, he might tweak his deck, just add another Plow, just help buy some time against an early Delver or Goyf.
Meanwhile, those are reasonable.
On the other side, Justin playing the traditional Rug Delver deck. He's got some spice in his sideboard. I mean, Red Elemental Blast, not too crazy. He'll probably put that in. But what about cards like? So Ancient Grudge, definitely hot, right?
Ancient Grudge is a nice one. It'll, even if it doesn't do a lot of damage to Rob with whatever he's doing, it'll certainly knock some stuff off. Yeah, it hits the bridge.
And then finally, Sulfuric Vortex. Is that one worth it?
I think I like Sulfuric Vortex. Rob would have to keep in some otherwise pretty bricky cards to handle it. Like he's got Seal of Cleansing and stuff like that. The Oblivion Ring's the only pseudo-reasonable card, right? That can hit Sulfuric Vortex in the main. So I think that's reasonable. And it also shuts off the Thopter Foundry's life gain, which is going to be massive.
All right, and then finally, do you like Flusterstorm out of the board?
I'm not digging Flusterstorm. Rob has a lot of cheap spells. It doesn't spell pierce any of the spells you actually want to spell pierce. You can get the Enlightened Tutor, but you can't get the Ensnaring Bridge, stuff like that, you know?
Yep.
So I'm not digging that one.
All right, sounds reasonable. I mean, the main thing he needs to do is just take these 2 Fork Bolts and 4 Lightning Bolts out of the deck, right?
Yeah.
So if he replaces those with 3 Red Blasts, 2 Sulfuric Vortex, and an Ancient Grudge, he's good to go.
Yep.
All right, so this time, Rob Vaca will be on the play. Not a lot of matchups in Legacy where people want to be on the draw.
No, there are not. I can't think of any offhand other than the occasional Dredge deck.
That just wants to discard instead of have its spell be countered?
Frequently chose to be on the draw. Always chose to be on the draw, actually. Whenever it got a chance. I know that I've considered it from time to time, but I've never actually done it. Just thought, maybe it's a... Nah. One of the ones you don't want to go with, you know. They're like, really? And you just get laughed at when you get trounced. It's like, probably shouldn't have gone for it.
So what do you think about Rug Delver? I mean, it was absolutely just dominant at the SCG Open circuit for months and months and months. And now it seems like Grizzlebrand, Land Tax, people are talking about all these other things, but is there any reason Rug Delver isn't still the real deal?
It's still the most popular deck. Its win percentage is dropping off, though, as these other decks, especially the combo decks like Reanimator, which can give it a lot of trouble.
Reanimator is very good against Rug Delver, you're saying?
It was the deck that sort of changed the metagame, obviously, with Reed Duke's win, where he very thoroughly defeated a lot of Rug Delver en route to taking that Legacy Open title, and the Rug Delver players have to adapt. So,
now, is there any chance that it's the red part, the Forked Bolt and Lightning Bolt, that need to be replaced by something else?
There are people debating that. A lot of people are trying to get black into the deck to get access to Thoughtseize and other removal spells. Sure. In fact, we did a deck tech on someone who went with Death Shadow in a blue-black Delver shell earlier.
Wow.
Snuff Outs and Death Shadows.
Could really do enough damage to himself to make it worth it?
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, that's a combo with Grizzlebrand. Yes. Sort of. You gotta be careful. No, I guess it's just a free roll, because every time you can always just get rid of the life.
Yeah. Rob starts with Island, playing around those wastelands. One of the reasons I like trying to play 2-color decks in Legacy is just avoiding that vulnerability to Wasteland. It's a nice luxury.
Now, do you think there's going to be more Wastelands or less in the world of Land Tax?
I think there will probably be, I want to say less, but realistically it's going to be close to the same number. I don't think it's going to be a huge shift.
Okay.
At least not at the outset.
How much land tax do you expect there to even be in Atlanta and in the SCG Open next weekend?
I think that we'll see kind of an inflated number because people will want to be trying it out. I don't personally think the archetypes are very good right now, so I think it'll settle down and then depending on their playability, increase or continue to decrease.
If somebody cracks the code,
Yeah,
it'll go back up
exactly.
again. But if not, it could just die down and end up like so many Grim monoliths.
Yep. I think cracks the code is a perfectly accurate way to describe that situation.
So Rob Vaca ponders, setting up his deck. Justin fetches up a tropical. Most likely he's going to be trying to advance his board with a Mongoose or a Delver, right?
He drew a Mongoose on turn 1, but he may already have a Delver, which could be a better play for him. He
Leads
has
with the
Mongoose.
Mongoose. Wants to just play around, plow at the out the gate.
Yeah, it's very reasonable. Force of will on Nimblongs. I told you that guy was a problem.
Absolutely.
We have removed our brainstorm to counter.
He is more than happy to put his Nimble Mongoose in the graveyard, taking 2 very powerful cards out of Rob Vaca's hand.
Rob's fetching here. Looks like he's going to make a play and probably just hoping to not get dazed on it. Might be our Thopter Foundry, which, if we can get it in play, is a very nice play because Justin's drawing slim to actually remove it.
Right, like he has just the one grudge.
Yep, that's
In
right.
his entire deck.
Nope, we didn't play anything. Interesting. I guess we're just still playing around Stifle.
Playing around Stifle. Lets him, and advancing his basic land count. Maybe this is like the 6th setup with Mana Link. Like he has Mana Link and he just wants Justin to walk face first into
Just
it.
give no credit. Yep. Ponder. Probably not mana leaking that one. Daze, Red Blast, Delver. Well, that is a spicy 3 cards.
That's a grip. As long as he's got a land in his hand and it's not a fetch land, you don't want to shuffle that.
No, you know, Red Blast is also an answer to the Thopter Foundry.
Oh,
we
very
forgot
true.
on our list.
Very, very true.
Volcanic Island.
So what's Rob looking to do? I mean, obviously he's trying to hit his land drops for the next few turns, but
Yeah.
which of his combos is most effective here?
It's tough to say. I think that Counterbalance might be the easiest one to stick because it has a chance to defend itself. The Thopter Foundry just doesn't have that going. Crucible's a nice card to just let him continue getting ahead. He did get dazed here, though. And Tundra has demonstrated that he's probably out of fetches, or he's saving one more to use with a Brainstorm at some point. Justin's first creature to the board, committed on turn 3, Delver of Secrets.
Well, Justin did at that point have mana
Yeah.
untapped, right? So if he's playing around Stifle, this is the turn to play the Tundra.
It's reasonable. Wasteland, an excellent card alongside Crucible of Worlds, but that's not a luxury we have. I feel like we probably drew the Wasteland. Like, wouldn't we have played that for a Crucible?
And he didn't Wasteland the Volcanic first.
No.
It's a little sad.
Sensei's Divining Top, and I think now we're going to
Now he has to swallow his pride and Wasteland after having gotten Rib Blasted.
Yep. Oh, but we're hitting Tropical.
Oh, yeah, because he wants to show him. I didn't do it wrong.
Revealing Daze.
That's what I wanted to do. So, Rob, on a 5-turn clock, not a ton of time.
It's possible he legitimately is more afraid of the green cards and just did not want to waste the Volcanic, and that was why he made the play, but he probably was not expecting to get Red Blasted there. I would say it's accurate that he didn't really consider that a big possibility.
Brainstorm continuing to give Justin his choice of 1 mana and 0 mana interactive cards. It's just amazing how much these Rug Delver decks can do on so little mana.
Yeah, they're just jam.
Alan Comer would be proud.
He would.
He's got 15 sources of blue in his deck.
He's topping on Upkeep, it looks like.
And having so few actual just blue lands gives him like a virtual card advantage because over the course of the game he just draws 30% more spells than people who have more land.
Especially considering the fetch lands.
Absolutely.
One of the factors that I really think is important with that stuff is post-sideboarding, when your decks are all getting better and you're getting more powerful cards with higher impact, and the deck that can just assemble more of them faster is going to have a pretty big advantage. Rug Delver's pretty good at that with all its brainstorms and its low land count and its fetches.
Absolutely.
We topped our way to a flooded strand. That's not going to do it. Another daze.
It's going to be really hard for Rob to break out of this because he's
Yeah.
looking at like 3 layers of permission. He's already on a 2-turn clock. What's Rob got to find here? I mean, obviously he could go for a miracle anytime now, but
Miracle would be nice. I think engineered explosives off of
good
an
one.
enlightened tutor is probably one of our better goes. It's also really hard to daze. Sulfuric vortex. That is a problem. I don't even
did
know.
I say 2-turn clock?
It's questionable whether Rob can realistically draw enough cards over the span of the next few turns to get through that. All of this, like.
So now he has to get rid of those insects this
Yes.
turn and then get rid of Sulfuric Vortex next turn.
Yep. He could, I suppose, top and pop top, but he has to contend with those dazes. And treat the Angels. Well, that is sort of a solution to those Delvers. How much are we playing it for, though?
It's interesting. Are you allowed to even do this?
To fetch, yes, there's a trigger when you draw the card.
And then you can
You
fetch.
can actually get your Miracle Vendilion clicked out of your hand after revealing it.
Oh,
Which is
wow.
an interesting trick not a lot of people
Awesome.
know.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Definitely good to know for next week.
Treat the Angels for a single copy of the Angel.
Just one?
Just one. Well, he knows the daze is there from the last flip, so
Fair enough.
yeah. And he
Still
has
just
nothing
dead to the
else.
board though, right? Like, don't you just have to go for 2 and hope that your opponent just doesn't daze it?
Is that more realistic than hoping he forgets to attack, or less? Because they're both decidedly loose.
So does he have Submerge in his sideboard? He doesn't.
Well, actually, shouldn't we have just... Oh, no, we didn't have double white. I was thinking, shouldn't we just have tried to pop our top and hit the terminus, leaving off the white? But, I mean, if we're going to cross our fingers, we can only do so much. Wasteland on Tundra,
offers
and
the
Rob's
hand.
like, all right, I'm done.
So Justin
I don't-
Uppal is victorious with his
Yep.
Rug Delver deck, defeating Rob Vaca's Dr. Top, Blue White, Enlightened Tutor Delight.
Those are some quick beats. Rob